Okay, we live? I think we are. Sorry about that, I wasn't paying attention. Looking over a message that I had. Well, while nobody's here, it gives me a second to get my bearings and explain what this is going to be all about. So, I came across a headline from a few different places on Twitter that were hyping up the fact that they're trying to put together some kind of a story on police brutality and the statistics and all that nonsense that goes along with it. Now, I know there are probably a lot of you out there who have not experienced anything like this and don't believe that these things actually happen. And sorry, but I have news for you. They do happen fairly often, actually. Now, if you've never been arrested, if you've never been to jail, congratulations. I'm sure majority of you have been pulled over either by yourself driving or as a passenger in the car with somebody else driving. And I don't need to explain to you, if you've been in this situation, how nerve wracking it can be when you have somebody outside of the car that wears a uniform and has the power to do whatever they want to do. Because the reality is, you try to take it to court, and majority of the time, I think you're going to lose. I mean, come on, man. It has been personal experience from things that I've seen and have had happen to me that a court is not going to believe you over a police officer. Now I'm sure that there are different instances that you can go by. However, I mean it does vary. But having said all of that, I figure we'll get into this article a little bit. Now I'm pulling it up from the Asbury Park Press. Just because, I mean, I've thought about doing this several times, but I wanted to have something to kind of back up my claims, and I can get into stories in a few minutes of the shit that I have gone through myself, but this is kind of polarizing. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and get into this here. I could screen share it. Matter of fact, I'll try to screen share it, but I don't know if that's going to necessarily mess anything up. We'll give it a shot. And I'll check in the comment section fairly often. If it starts to break up or slow down, please say something so that I can stop screen sharing, and then I will just do it the way that I have been doing it, which is just reading it. But let me go ahead and start this. Now, the link is in the description of the video if you want to follow along and take a look at this article. Just in case, what I will do is I will copy this and I will put it into the comment section. So now you can see there that is. In case you don't want to pop open a description, you can just click that right there. Now, let's jump into this. Are we okay so far? It seems like we might be. Alright, says New Jersey government across the state, from the smallest town to some of the largest cities, has spent more than 42 million this decade to cover up death, physical abuses, and sexual misconduct at the hand of bad cops. The abuse of power has left a staggering toll. At least 19 dead, 131 injured, 7 sexual misconduct, plus dozens of other offenses ranging from false arrest to harassment. 2-year investigation by the Asbury Park Press found, and these are the key findings. New Jersey spent 2 years conducting the first ever comprehensive review of more than 30,000 pages of police documents, court findings, lawsuits, and settlements from nearly every one of New Jersey's 565 municipalities. The investigations found bad cops have beaten, sexually harmed, killed scores of people because the state's fractured law enforcement oversight system is ill equipped to identify and fire rogue officers before they cause harm. Now, just checking in. Okay, well, nobody's here, so nobody can tell me if this shit is going awry or not. We're just going to assume that it isn't. Dozens of towns have collectively paid $42 million to settle allegations of police abuse that involved 19 deaths, 131 injuries, misuse of police power, at least 38 cops facing discipline that were given a total of more than 700,000 in tax money to quietly resign. At least 3 found new jobs in law enforcement. 113 police departments have no written policies mandating random drug testing, which leaves 1.4 million residents at risk from cops who may abuse drugs. Press investigation is prompting change, reporting 1.1 million in police lawsuit settlements in Tinton Falls led to the upset victory in the borough's mayor's race. Lieutenant Governor-elect Sheila Oliver told the press that Murphy and Oliver administration will prioritize criminal justice reform, and Monmouth prosecutor's office is promulgating guidelines for mandatory drug testing and all police officers in the county. Now, I don't know if that is necessarily true. We will have to find out. I will read more into this, but before I do any of that, let me just start by saying I have known people who have gone through some shit in life. I myself have had many run-ins with the police. Now, I'm going to share a couple of stories with you, and they're going to sound unbelievable, but they're believable because they have happened. Now, you can believe it or not believe it, that is completely your choice. But just as an example, now this was partially my fault. Partially my fault. At the time, I lived around the corner from my mom's house, literally. I had to run over there to grab something from her. At this point, I don't remember what the hell it was, but it was something small and stupid. Or no, I had to go and feed her cat. I think that's what it was, because she was staying at work overtime and she wasn't able to be there to do it. So, as you know, I mentioned in previous videos, I've been taking pain medication, prescribed, obviously, for quite a while. So, when I left the apartment, I decided, I knew I was going to wind up taking one of my pills anyway, but let me just throw it in my pocket and bring it over there. And if she has a water or something in the fridge, I'll just take it when I get there. I'm on foot. I'm not driving. I go out my door, and, usually in the other place that I was living, I saw a police presence damn near every day, sitting outside of the apartment, watching or driving by. I mean, I'll get into all that in a second, but anyway, walking past, and cop stops his car in the middle of the road, hops out, says, "What are you doing?" Now, look, man. This town is a small town. It's only a mile long. What I'm trying to say is that pretty much when I lived there, I knew all of pretty much 99% of the cops. There was not a cop that worked in this town that I did not come across either by driving past me or, just seeing them out and about doing whatever it is that cops do. So I knew this guy. There were nicknames for him. He had he had a few problems. I noticed that he had a Twitch issue. Now I'm not sure what that pertains to, but I'm not going to say his name or what the nicknames were because that's not important. Anyway, the point is, I'm familiar with this cop. I know who he is. He knows who I am. Now, I'm not saying that we're buddies. We don't hang out together. But the point is that he knows me. He knows where I live. He knows that I'm from town. So he stops me and he says, "Hey, where do you think you're going?" I was like, "Dude, I'm going over to my mom's. Got to feed the cat, whatever." Right? So he then turns around and says, "Well, I'm stopping you because you look like a suspicious person." For those of you that don't know, I do walk around with a limp. Just the way that I was born, can't control it, whatever. So there's an excuse, there's always a built in excuse to stop me someplace. But anyway, when he says I look suspicious, suspicious doing what? I'm walking down the fucking street, I'm not doing anything wrong. Yeah, well, we've been getting reports that somebody that looks like you in your age range is walking around here and, being kind of shady. All right, whatever, man. So we start to go through the whole procedure. I'm sure that you know it, but if you don't, it's basically, all right, well, look, man, I stopped you, so now I'm going to have to pat you down. I want to make sure you don't have any weapons or anything on you. All right, man, go for it. So before he starts to pat me down, he says, Do you have any knives, any weapons, or any sharp objects that'll stab me or poke me if I go to reach into your pocket?" I say, "No." He said, "All right. All right, do you have any drugs on you?" Now remember, I said that I had a pill in my pocket. I do get them prescribed. Left the bottle at home like an asshole. This part of the story is my fault. I should not have done that. Should have brought the bottle with me. I didn't. Anyway, I was only down the street from my house. Didn't even turn the damn corner yet. Dude says, "Oh, you do have drugs on you." I said, "Wait, they're not illegal. I get prescribed medication. I have a pill in my pocket. If you give me the chance, I'm going to reach in and I'm going to take it out and I will show you what it is." Okay, fine. Pull it out, show him. I say, "Look, this is it. You can pat me down and see I have nothing else on me." He does that. He pats me down and he says, "All right, well, where's the bottle?" The bottle's in the house, dude. He's like, "Well, why are you walking around with loose drugs in your pocket? You do know that I could arrest you right here in the spot, right, for not having your bottle on you." I'm like, "Look, bro, I can go to the house and get it. I literally live right there. You give me a chance, I'll go into the house and grab it so you can see I actually have the bottle. At least before you arrest me and then I have to bring it into court and prove that you were wrong or whatever. Maybe I get a fine, whatever the case may be." So he says, "All right, fine. You know what? Go ahead and do it." Now, I'm not a fucking idiot. When I walked back into the house, I shut the door behind me and I fucking locked it because I'm not letting this dude into my house, man. And obviously, I know I have to go back out there. If he wanted to, he could have kicked the door in, but that's not going to do either of us a favor. So I grab the bottle and I bring it outside. Dude standing there. And he says, "All right, well, I need you to hand me the pill that you had in your pocket, and I need to see your bottle because I need to make sure that the pills match." Now, follow me here because this is where the story gets interesting. He has the pill in his hand, the original one. Opens my bottle. This is gross, also, by the way. No gloves at all. Was wearing no gloves whatsoever. With his bare, gross ass hands. Who the hell knows where they've been? He pours. some of the pills out in his hand, like a decent handful out. Then he takes his pointer finger and his middle finger and he cups them down into his hand. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my camera on so that I can show you exactly what it is that I'm talking about, since I don't really do a great job of explaining things. Alright, so now if I can get my fucking fingers to do it. Anyway, he's got it like this, where these two fingers are curled in and the other ones, if you know, my hands don't work normally obviously, but he's got it cupped in like that. So what's happening is he's looking at them and he says, "All right, they match." All right, hold on a second. I gotta just answer text real quick. Just give me 1 second. It's not gonna take me that long. What is she saying? Okay. Okay. Whatever. Whatever. We'll deal with that later when we deal with it. Anyway, so he has his fingers cuffed, and right away I'm like, all right, something is not right with this. But he says, all right, here's your bottle back. Next time, bring the bottle with you because you can't be walking around with loose pills in your pocket. Because if I catch you again in this situation, I will arrest you and I will put you in jail, whatever, whatever. I'm like, okay. So then my first instinct, obviously, is to go to the house. The cat can wait. He's going to eat eventually. Right now, I need to count these pills. So I go in, I count them, and lo and behold, I'm missing 2 to 4 pills. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Now this is fantastic. What am I supposed to do? I can't go back outside and say, hey, asshole, you just robbed me. What? Nobody's gonna believe that. The hell am I supposed to do now? So I'm like, whatever. I guess I'm just gonna have to eat the loss and just deal with it. Now, granted, I didn't get my ass kicked in this particular instance, but it just go. The guy robbed me right in front of my fucking face. What was I supposed to do? He's not like a regular person where I can question him. If you get too close, uh, it's a wrap for you. They could do pretty much whatever the hell they want. So anyway, the next day, my girlfriend is in her car and she's leaving town to go somewhere, and she gets pulled over by the same cop that stopped me previously the day before. And she was, I don't understand. I have no headlights out, not speeding. Pretty much, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't understand why you're stopping me. And so now there's 2 cops. There's one cop that I knew who is dead now. You know, that's a completely different story. It wasn't a shootout or anything. He actually got killed in a car accident, but it was him and the guy who robbed me. And they actually stopped her only to say, hey, we wanted to let you know, uh, tell your boyfriend that he has really good shit. Who's gonna believe that? I don't think anybody would believe that. And they can do that because, dude, they have the point I'm trying to make is that they have the fucking power to do whatever the hell they want. And you're not going to be able to do anything about it. I mean, I'll give you another example. When I got arrested on the weed charges and they brought me into the interrogation room, when they're trying to intimidate me and tell me that they're going to give me 3 years for a fucking eighth of weed, I mean, whatever. I was going to take the time and deal with it. But that's besides the point. Cop straight up said, listen, don't even bother trying to take this to trial because you know what's going to happen if you do? I'm going to just put another cop on the stand, and I'll have him say that you sold weed directly to him, and then you'll just get convicted anyway. Because nobody is going to take the word of a drug dealing scumbag over a cop. Just not going to happen. So don't even bother taking it to trial. Again, I told you that some of this shit might sound unbelievable, but it truly did happen. I'm not making this up for effect. You want to go even further? When I was finally put into the county, when it's in the county jail, saw some black dude get brought in there, and he was being manhandled in a way, pushing him around and shit while he's got the handcuffs on. These two cops are being real dickheads, man. But they bring him into the station. I'm sitting there waiting to be processed and put in a holding cell. That's how I'm able to see all of this happen, because they're bringing guys in, they're they're taking the pictures, fingerprint, and all that nonsense. So they bring this dude in, and I hear him, he's arguing with the cops, and he's like, "Dude, come on! I was just trying to pay it. I had the money. They wouldn't take it. You don't have to put me in jail. You don't have to do this. I'll lose my job, the whole deal." He's trying to plead with them. And, they're like, "Listen, man, doesn't matter." What happened was there was a warrant put out for him because he didn't pay his child support on whatever day that he was supposed to. He made a mistake of going to the courthouse to pay it in person himself. That was mistake number one. Mistake number two is that he brought cash with him and tried to give it to them in cash rather than taking the money. The people in the child support division called the cops, had them serve the warrant. They arrested him, brought him into the jail. He had $1,400 on him. That's what he was. That's what he owed. I don't know if it was a backed up payment or if that was a monthly payment. Whatever. I didn't ask the guy, but he's like, "You don't have to do this to me. I have the money. Just let me pay it and let me go so I don't lose my job and everything else." And they're like, the one cop looks at the other cop and he was like, "Hey, man, uh, did you see him come in with any money?" Another cop was like, "Nah, I didn't see anything." Go in the dude's pocket, take the money out, put it in his pocket, and went, "Yeah, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see any money." Then continued to cart him off to jail and lock him up. Now that cop is $1,400 richer. This dude is going to jail for not paying child support. Random passerby, I don't believe you. These stories sound impossible. No, I know. I know. I'll give you one more. When I got arrested and put into the jail, at the time, I was taking Seroquel and I was taking Vicodin for the pain that I have, both bottles from doctors, respectively, whatever the hell the word is. But anyway, I was stupid enough to bring them in with me. I thought in my rational brain, if you get arrested and you're on medication, when they arrest you, they take the medication, they check with the doctors, they make sure that the prescriptions are legit, and then they give that medicine to a doctor who is then going to distribute medication to you as you need it, right? That's what you would think would happen. That's not what happened. What happened was that I don't know if you ever seen uh Super Troopers, but there was some Farva looking dude that was back there. I mean, I swear he looked just like him. He had the mustache and everything. Matter of fact, what I'll do real quick is I'm gonna pull up a picture of this guy. Farva Super Troopers. Let me see if I can pull this up. Now I'm gonna screen share, and I'm not making up stories here, dude. This is what the guy looked like. Hold on. This motherfucker right here. Look just like him. No bullshit. Same mustache, same round face, the whole deal. Look just like him. But anyway, they take my stuff, and the cop is like, "Oh, look at what we got, guys. Looks like we're gonna have a party tonight." I'm like, "Dude, I need that medication. You can't just take it away like that." And he was like, "Again, what medication? I didn't say anything." 8 other cops behind the counter, including a woman, if that matters at all. And he says to everybody, "You guys see him coming with any pills?" "No, we didn't see anything." Oh, see that? Nobody saw him. Can't help you. Sorry. Pockets them. Then they put me away. And that's that. You know, I bring this up. I try to bring this up to a lawyer, and he's like, "Listen, man, can you prove that you had the medicine on you? Can you prove that they took it?" Because if you can't, I don't know what you want me to do with that. I can't exactly just go to the judge and say, "Well, Your Honor, my client tells me that they took his medication from him. So, we're going to need you to just believe him on his word." It's not the way that it works, unfortunately. So when I see stories like this of people getting beat up and shit like that, I believe it. Only because of the fact that of what I have gone through in my own personal life. I know that these things can happen. They really can. Now hold on, I'm gonna screen share again quickly because I'm gonna show you guys while I'm going over this. This is the guy right here. He's a cop. I mean, you can just look at his fucking face, dude. He looks like these guys think they can just get away with anything that they want, and majority of the time they can. So look, in 2016, Khan, who is that dude right there, was arrested on charges of punching his brother-in-law in the face, causing serious facial injury, eye socket, and jaw fractures. Threatened to shoot him. Just in case you don't know, do you want to know what saying something like that will get you? It's called terroristic threats. And that'll land you into jail 5 to 7 years. Hey, what's up, Sabella? Not much, man. Just going over police brutality statistics and stuff like that. Talking about this guy right here, and I had a few stories of my own that I was going over. But it's just real quick going to go over this a little bit more with this guy. So he punches dude in the face, apparently his own family member, breaks their jaw and their eye socket, then threatens to shoot him. Now let's see what happens. Let's read a little bit further and see what happened to this guy. Brushes off the criminal charges as a grand jury dismissed the claims. His only punishment, a 40-day police department suspension. After that, the officer returned to the streets armed with a weapon in full force of the law. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call, so let me stop screen sharing quickly if I can answer the phone. Hello? Okay. Alright, I'll have her up here. She's fine. Okay. Alright. Bye. Talking about the people that read the meters are coming out. We had the dog stopping by, so we don't want her barking at them and scaring the shit out of them or whatever. But so he got a 40-day suspension. I mean, did I read that right? Let me go back over it. Yeah, 40-day police department suspension. After that, he returned to the streets armed with a weapon, and it goes right back to doing his job. Now, like I was saying before, if you say you're gonna kill somebody, You threaten to shoot somebody. That's terroristic threats. I know from personal experience, unfortunately, even though what happened to me was not true and I got caught up in, again, the abuse of power and all this stuff like that. But that carries a sentence of 5 to 7 years in prison. You only do a year of that while you're in the county. The rest of it goes into prison time. Doing homeworks while listening, but man, I need a new mouse for my laptop. The one I got sucks now. I'm gonna get a new one Friday or Saturday. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You definitely need to do that. I mean, I have a wireless one here, bit of a pain in the ass, but the bigger problem is the CPU and the computer. But so yeah, 5 to 7 years terroristic threats will give you, and then you add on to that, that's an assault charge. At minimum, that's 6 months. Minimum is 6 months. Now, I mean, I guess you can add on assault and battery. I don't know if that would be a separate charge, but you're looking at 7 years plus we'll tack on another year. So that's 8 years in prison maximum, probably more, depending on whether or not this is your first offense and how badly the other person is hurt. With this cop breaking this dude's eye socket and his jaw, then you gotta pay hospital bills on top of that. And he gets a fucking 40-day suspension and that's it? And then they wonder why people hate cops? You can't just go around breaking somebody's fucking jaw, dude, and have nothing happen to you other than you gotta surrender your badge and gun and ride a desk for fucking 40 days. That's outrageous. That is crazy. We're never going to if shit like this continues to happen, there's never going to be a level playing field where people can trust cops. It's just not going to happen. And the unfortunate part of this is that a lot of people don't believe these stories until it actually happens to them. That's when all of a sudden they want to believe in that. But by then it's already too late. And this is just one story. I'll pop back on the screen sharing again in case you guys want to follow along. And there is the link in the description for this website in case you want to read it on your at your own pace. But so he got 40-day suspension after that, returning to the streets. It did not prevent him from more violence. During a car chase that could have been a scene from an action movie, Khan shot at a suspect fleeing in his vehicle, then pursued the car to the streets of Jersey City, according to the criminal charges filed against him. On June 4, 2017, the chase ended tragically for Miguel Feliz, 20 years old, innocent victim caught in the mayhem. The father of a 6-year-old was driving home from his Peapod grocery delivery when the suspect ran into the Toyota. All right, so he ran into his car and ran him off the road. Car burst into flames, slamming into a utility pole. While his clothes are on fire even, and choking on the acrid smoke, he needed help from the police. He got conned. Now this is our award-winning officer who, let's recap quickly, broke his own brother-in-law's jaw and eye socket, threatened to shoot him. And that's this beauty queen that we're dealing with. This guy has now been dragged into a situation that had nothing to do with him, slams into a fucking utility pole. Now he's on fire. Now he's on fire. And this is the point where if you're this guy, you're sitting in your car on fire, freaking out, trying to get out, put yourself out, and then you're saying, there's no way my day could possibly get any worse from here. Let's see about that. Khan and another officer kicked police as he laid burning on the ground. Struck in the face, cell phone video was shot by a passerby showed months later. Both officers were indicted on aggravated assault charges. Officers have pled not guilty. Now, this is Miguel being quoted as saying, I thought they were there to help. Said weeks after the incident, healing from 4 broken ribs inflicted by police, multiple burns, obviously not. They obviously were not there to help. In another state, Khan's first arrest would most likely have been his last day as a police officer. In Florida, shout out to Sabella. Maybe you've heard of this story, possibly not. Conduct involving an assault can cost a police officer license to enforce the law, even if they are not criminally prosecuted. But not in good old Garden State, it don't. Isn't that goddamn unfortunate? Of course not in New Jersey. Do we do anything right? I mean, really? I don't know. I don't know. Many officers use their authority to commit crimes. Obviously. We know that. What's going on, man? How come you're switching my shit around, dude? I didn't want that. Can we go back to where I was, please? Apparently not. So then, this is where we go backwards. Paste the link, and let's see. Is it gonna work? In the meantime, let me stop screen sharing because that's not going to really do anything for us. But, you know, this is crazy. Why is it that these things can happen? How is that allowed to happen? And then not only that, oh nope, but damn, I miss Texas. I understand that. Even though I would kind of be afraid to live in Texas just because of, you know, instances that I have dealt with in Florida. It seems like a lot of people, and I'm not going to say all of them, but there are a lot of people in the South that just wouldn't. If you're from the North, they automatically don't like you just because of where the fuck you're from, which is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, um, so yeah, how the hell is this allowed to happen? Why does this shit take place? How are we supposed to trust the cops? And I'm not saying that they're all bad. I'm not saying they're all bad, but you don't hear you don't hear about the good stories. You hear about the bad ones. When cops fuck up, you don't hear when everything is going well, you don't necessarily hear about that. And I mean, I guess that's just the nature of the beast, but I mean, it is what it is. What can you do? But let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit here. Road cops are a fraction of the 33,000 officers who protect the public each day. Bad cops remain on the street because of one number 466. That's the number of municipality police departments in the state, most with 23 or fewer officers and some employing multiple family members. Each of the 466 departments have a unique political culture and internal affairs system that is rarely overseen by outsiders, unless the police chief believes that an officer may have committed a crime. New Jersey is one of 6 states that does not officially license police officers or have a method to ban bad cops. Much like, hold on. much the way the government can disbar wayward lawyers or pull the license of intoxicated truck drivers. The other states without a police licensing revocation laws are New York, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, California, and Hawaii. Of at least 64,353 internal affairs complaints filed since 2011, less than half of 1%, 226, resulted in an officer being charged with a crime. The press found of those defendants, 90 were convicted. Holy shit. Now, it does show a chart here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Damn, everybody pretty much left. Well, I know it out loud, but whatever. You know, they want to go, they're going to go. Nothing I can do about that. But check out this chart. If I can pull it up. Now, where the hell did it go? I keep forgetting I have to go over here. Check out this chart. Complaints filed. Complaints thrown out. Complaints still pending. Look at this. Look at that. Almost half of the complaints thrown out is almost half the size of the ones that are filed. Almost half the size. That is insanity, dude. They're out to do their job. Look, I get that. But this is a problem. This is a serious problem. A cop with domestic dispute history kills his wife. We don't even have to read the rest of that. Let's just skip to the end. He used a gun to fatally shoot his ex-wife in 2015 in the middle of an Asbury Park street in front of their 7-year-old daughter, serving 30-year prison sentence. I'm shocked he's even in jail. Well-known violent cop beats a suspect on camera. Bloomfield officer Orlando Trinidad was known in the police department for using subtle suspects, accounting for nearly a third of the so-called use of force. Police reports in a 120-member department. After nearly ripping off the ear of a handcuffed suspect inside the police station in 2013, a lawsuit claims that Trinidad then looked directly into the surveillance camera and seemingly mocked the ensuring internal affairs review by saying, IA. The suit settled for $364,000 without any admission of fault, sentenced to 5 years in prison for lying on a police report in a separate instance. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. So, yeah, they do. New Jersey does have a serious problem. I mean, dude, let's catch that again. Let's catch that again. Sentenced for 5 years in prison, not for almost ripping somebody's ear off, but for lying in a police report for a separate incident. So that means if he didn't lie in the report, he could rip off all the fucking ears that he wants and nobody cares. A lack of oversight. I mean, come on, man. Police chief was charged by federal agents, and that's Frank Nucera Jr., charged by federal agents in 2017 with assaulting a black man, repeatedly making violent and racist remarks. The need for outside intervention by the FBI underscores the limited oversight of New Jersey's hundreds of police chiefs. His lawyer did not return a message seeking comment. Obviously not. 2017, the alleged assault. After the alleged assault, but before the indictment, he was awaiting trial. Upon leaving, he was paid $54,002, including compensation for unused sick and vacation days. Jesus Christ, man. 1.8 million cop. Battling a problem cop can be extraordinarily expensive. Taxpayers spend at least 1.8 million in a 9-year effort to fire Manuel Avila, Patterson patrolman with a history of mental health trouble, accused of sexual assault but acquitted at trial. Although not convicted of being a violent cop, the city put him on paid suspension and ultimately cost at least $940,000. The city agreed to a settlement of $710,000 with the woman, plus at least $92,000 in legal fees. In a settlement with the officer, the city agreed to dismiss disciplinary charges against the officer if he resigned. The agreement allowed him to collect $85,134 unused sick and vacation time. He is now trying to get $72,000 in an annual pension, which would include a credit for the 6 years that he was suspended. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, this is insanity, right? I mean, maybe we're all in the wrong business. Maybe we need to get a cop uniform and just start whipping ass. Is that the moral of the story here? Seems like a lot of people. Look, if you're stopping in and then leaving, read the title, man. You're probably not going to like what this all has to say. Unfortunately. Look, I really do. I wish this shit wasn't real. I wish this was not true. But the reality of the fact is that it is true. Real quick to jump off the story, I'll go into another one. Okay, staying at my mom's house. This is going years back. We're talking again like early 2000 years ago. We were looking for a place to live, bouncing back and forth. Wound up landing in my mom's house for a night or so. So then there's a lady that lived underneath her. When I lived in the apartment, we had a serious problem with this woman. Serious problem. She turned out that she was a heavy drinker and a crack addict as well. Those two things don't blend very well together at all. They really don't. But anyway, this would be a common occurrence. She would start drinking in the later hours of the night, 9 to 12 o'clock. And then if you've never been around crack before, congratulations. But if you smell it even once, that is a smell that you will not soon forget. It smells like burning plastic. That's what it smells like. So this lady starts to fire up the crack pipe and then starts to beat her daughter's ass. This was a common occurrence. Happened damn near every day. On this particular day, I was not really in the mood to listen to this shit. I should have just kept my mouth shut, but I don't always make very good decisions. So I was like, I took a broom, whacked it on the floor a couple of times, and I was like, hey man, keep it down. I'm not going to yell into the microphone, obviously, but I yelled downstairs, keep it down. That's all. Didn't say anything wild or ridiculous, but goes quiet for a second. 2 seconds later, I hear footsteps racing up the stairs. Obviously, I locked the door. I'm not a fucking moron. Because you can't beat a crackhead. That's besides the point. Lock the door. Then she starts pounding on it. Come the fuck up out here, motherfucker. I'll fuck you up. I swear to God, I will fuck you up. How fucking dare you try to tell me to keep my mouth shut in my own fucking apartment? Why don't you come out here, pussy? I'll kick your fucking ass. Were you afraid to fight a woman, bitch? Huh, bitch? What, are you scared? Come on out here, you fucking... Dude, it went on. And I was like, yo, whatever. Then she starts rattling the doorknob. She's trying to get in. Trying to get into the fucking apartment. So, what do? Just turned around and said, hey, listen, man. I'm not going to open the door, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you come through that door, I have every right to defend myself and the people that are inside this apartment. Quiet. Silence. What's going on? I don't know. What happened? Did she give up? Maybe she realized, I don't really want a problem. She's gonna go downstairs and go back to doing my drugs. Maybe she'll do that. It's not what happened. What happened was she went downstairs and called the police and said, not only did I, and this is all, and I'm quoting her from what the police told me. She said that I opened my door, I was swinging a knife around, that I threatened to kill her, stab her, and throw her down the stairs, her and her daughter. Never happened. I never opened the fucking door. But that's besides the point. Anyway, 2 cops show up. Again, dude that passed away in a car crash, and another one of my favorite police officers that I can't fucking stand because of how big of a cunt he is. For people that don't like that word, my apologies, but there's no other way to describe this piece of shit. Because that's exactly what he was, a piece of shit. Anyway, coming to find out that, the cop that died, he goes downstairs to talk to this woman because there's a conflict of interest. The cop that's upstairs with me, my favorite person in the world, is fucking this lady. That's why he's upstairs with me and the other cop is downstairs talking to the person because obviously since they have a fucking relationship, he can't be down there talking to her. Otherwise, it'll probably get thrown out. So they say, look, man, we need to pat you down. She said you had a knife. No knife found. No knife found at all. He brings me into the kitchen and he starts patting me down, man. And the way that he did it was kind of disturbing because when he touched me, he started going down my back, patting down the sides of my thighs. And then he went back up, and I'm not even bullshitting you when I say this. He started grabbing my ass and my balls, dude, from behind me. And I said, look, you may think this is disrespectful, but I was like, hey man, is there something I can fucking help you find back there? Because you're grabbing on my balls and my dick. Do you mind? He was like, oh, you think you're trying to be fucking funny? Like, no, I'm not being funny, dude. Get your fucking hands off my nuts, dickhead. And then funny about that. So anyway, fast forward a little bit. And, people are seeing this. My girl's in the house. My mom comes out of her room now because she hears all the fucking commotion. What the hell is going on? Nobody knows what is happening. Although I don't know how the fuck you slept through the crackhead almost breaking in. But whatever. Not my business. So, the cops saying the second cop comes from downstairs in the lady's apartment and she's like, look, she wants to press charges against you. So this is what it is. I mean, we can't, it's really your word against hers, but basically because she's a woman, they take her word a little bit more seriously than mine, and because there's nobody in the house to corroborate my story that wouldn't lie for me, basically. That because I'm in a relationship with the one girl and my mother, obviously gave birth to me, that they're a conflict of interest, so they can't make a statement corroborating my story that would hold up. So they say, but look, don't worry, we're not going to bring you to jail. We just need to uh, talk to the station and figure out what we're going to do. But then he goes, my favorite cop says to me, all right, well, you got a choice. It's either going to be jail or it's going to be the PES unit, which is a mental institution. Having seen the insides of a few mental institutions, I was like, I don't think a mental institution is the best thing. I chose jail like an idiot, thinking that I wasn't going to go anyway. Well, this is why I miss Texas, because when I had an issue with my mom, they always automatically believed me. Good thing about small town Texas. Yeah, because this is small town, but they don't. If you know the cops, they always know who's lying. Plus, my parental grandparents were my best friends with the police chief, and he was always on speed dial. Yeah, we were not, I was not close to these cops at all. They all hated my guts. They actually used to call me, poor little rich boy, because my aunt used to work for Liz Claiborne. So when they had misprint clothes and shit, I would I would buy them and then wear them around, and they figured, although you're broke, somehow you're wearing all these really expensive clothes, not realizing that they were misprints. That's why I was able to get them. But anyway, before I get derailed off of that, they're like, "Oh, all right, don't worry about it. We're not gonna lock you up. We're not gonna lock you up." They go outside. They talk for a few minutes. They come back in. They go, "Hey, man, can you come over to the door for a second?" I'm like, okay. 2 seconds later, they got handcuffs on me. I'm like, dude, I thought I wasn't going to jail. What the fuck is going on? You can't prove what she's saying. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, we changed our mind. Now you're going to jail. I'm like, fuck. Now I'm scared out of my goddamn mind. Before now, I've never gone to county before. This was before the arrest. I have no idea what's going to happen. This shit is obviously serious. So I get dragged into the police station. They fingerprint me. They do all that. And I asked the guy who is dead now, I'm like, yo, what is this dude's fucking problem, man? Why is he being such a dickhead? I mean, like, tighten the handcuffs on me to where I can't even feel my hands. Never go outside the house because they can't arrest you inside if they had no cause. See, I didn't know that then. I had no idea. So they knew they were able to trick me because I was stupid and I didn't know any better. But I asked the guy, I was like, what is that dude's fucking problem? Why is he in a bad mood? I'm not even making this up. Dude looks straight at me dead in the face and goes, well, not for nothing, man, but the guy could be home fucking his wife right now. Instead, he has to be out arresting you. I thought that was the fucking job, bro. Excuse me. Sorry that you want to be home fucking your wife and not doing the job that you get paid to do. Sorry, that's my fault. So anyway, continuing on, this whole thing became a fucking shit show. I wound up figuring out when I got to the jail, I had no bail. The night before, somebody was arrested for terroristic threats. They let the guy out on bail. He then proceeded to kill the two people that he made a death threat against. Went out, killed them, had to arrest them, bring them back into the jail. This is the night before I got arrested. Now it's like fucking 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm hearing this story firsthand. Like, well, I'm really fucked. This is completely fucked. There's no evidence in any of this. I don't know how the hell this is gonna go down, but I'm completely screwed here, man. There's absolutely nothing I can do. So I spend about a week in the jail. Then they have cameras inside of each cell. Now I don't know how other counties do it, if all jails do this, but they have cameras inside of the cell that watch your every move, and apparently the judge can see you. They can sit in their chambers and watch you on closed circuit television, and they monitor your behavior, or so I'm guessing. So and when I say we, it was myself and probably 15 to 20 other people. We all had to go via Skype or whatever it was to talk to the judge. The judge reviews our charges, and then from there, they decide what is it going to be. So the judge goes over everybody: assault, firearm charges, child support, this, that, and the other thing. It gets to me, and judge says terroristic threats. Every single person in there turned around and looked back at me, like, you get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah, dude. Apparently, I shocked everybody, even though I really didn't, because that's not what actually happened. Luckily, the lady that I got was actually a decent human being. She looked at my record. I literally threw up for 7 days straight. Didn't eat anything, only water from whatever I can get out of the sink, and that's it. No food, nothing. Just nerves shot, thinking life is over, getting sick every single day, don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Judge is like, listen, looked over your record. I see that you don't have any previous charges. You've never been arrested before now, and terroristic threats carries a sentence of 5 to 7 years. So, because in light of the fact that you've never been arrested before, I'm going to knock down your charge from terroristic threats to disorderly persons. So now you won't have to go to superior court. You can go to municipal court in the town that you got arrested in, and it will be up to that judge how long you go away for, what happens to you. So I'm like, okay, that's good. Now that the charge has been knocked down to disorderly persons, I can finally post bail. So as 2,500, 10% of 2,500 is 250. Put up $250, I can get out. Had to call a bail bondsman. This is where the story gets interesting. I had to call a bail bondsman, right? Because that's who you give your 10% to help you get out of jail, because they do this all day, every day. I called a random guy. There were signs all over the jail because they go in there and they have like a bulletin board of stickers and shit from all these different bail bonds companies. So you can call them. Now you have to call everybody that you're calling. Obviously, they have a payphone inside of the holding cell. I called 3 guys before I wound up getting the dude that actually posted my bail for me. So he asks me what the charges are, because I guess they can decide whether or not they want to be involved with bailing you out, depending on whatever the case is. So I tell him the story, and while I'm going over the story, he's like, "Wait a second. And where did you say you lived at?" And I told him, and he said, "Was the person's name, well, I don't know, trying to think of was the person's name Jackie?" We'll say that was her name. He was like, "Wait, did you say that the person that called the cops on you was Jackie, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do I know her? Give me about an hour. I'll be down there and we'll talk in person when we can." I go, "Oh, okay, cool." Hang up the phone, wait for him, get my bail posted, go have a meeting with the bail bondsman. Turns out the bail bondsman knows the exact drug addict that I'm talking about, because when he used to live in Seaside Heights, he lived underneath this lady. And guess what? Same thing. Same thing happened. She got drunk, she got high, started kicking her fucking daughter around. Guy tries to say something. She calls the cops, tries to get him arrested. Happened numerous times. I'm not the first person that she's done this to. Anyway, go to court. Cop says, we don't know why he's in her stead. He's trying to stand there in her place at the arraignment. She's not showing up. She doesn't show up. For the first one, before the sentencing and all that, she was there as a party who pressed charges. She was there. When the arraignment came and it was time for her to file charges, she didn't show up. Judge says, okay, well, even though she's not here, I still want to pursue this case. To the point where prosecutor goes, I don't think this really worth it. Kid has no previous record. The lady did not show up. If she was if she was really concerned for her life, she would be here today in this court proceeding. Judge says, well, I don't know. How do I know that she really got the paper? The other cop who had passed away now, he goes over there and he taps the prosecutor on the shoulder. He whispers something to him, and he asks the judge if he could speak in the courtroom. Judge says, all right, go ahead and talk. Cop says, Your Honor, I personally hand delivered the notice to the plaintiff before. That's not right. Where there is no compiling witnesses, they typically automatically drop it, especially if they have a history of false accusations. Yeah, exactly. This judge was not trying to do that at all. So the cop winds up standing up and says, Your Honor, I gave her the notice personally days before this court date happened. She's not here. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but she's not here. Can we just move on from this? There's nothing really more that we can do. Prosecutor turns around and says, Your Honor, I agree with the police officer. If she was handed the notice to be here, she should be here. Judge turns around and says, Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know. I think we ought to push it back another day and maybe we can get him to come in. Maybe she'll come in next week. Prosecutor keeps pushing it. No, I really don't think it's worth the court's time. For whatever reason, judge finally turns around and goes, "Okay, all right, you know what? Fine. This is what's going to happen then." He looks at me and he goes, "Listen, here's what you're going to do. You are now court ordered to go get a mental evaluation. And you have to be put on medication and go through anger management. I will be checking in on you. If I do not see that you've gone through a mental evaluation and put on medication within 30 days, I will put a bench warrant out for you and you will be arrested. Now get the fuck out of my courtroom." Okay, that's fine. I leave. I go a town over to go get something to eat. Now that I can finally, like, okay, it's over. The worst part is over with. I'm not going to jail for fucking 7 years. Case was dismissed, but he's ordering me to do this shit, so I know I gotta do that. I leave. Not even 15 minutes later, I get a phone call from my aunt. Says, Dude, the judge wants you back in his courtroom right now and says that if you don't go back, he's going to put a bench warrant out for you and you're going to get arrested. We literally sped we were 2 or 3 towns over. We must have did 90 from that town all the way back here to the court to get back in because he gave us, a 10-15 minute window to come back. I run back in there. I run into the court, and he says, "You what? Where the fuck did you think that you were going? I was like, Your Honor, you said I could leave. And he was like, I didn't say anything of the fucking sort. And don't think you could just walk out of my fucking courtroom until I can tell you that you can walk out of my goddamn courtroom. Do you understand me? I'm like, sir, you can go back and check the records. He's like, you got something to say? I'm like, all right, I'll shut my mouth, apparently. He's like, now you can fucking leave. Because I told you can leave. Now you can leave. I'm like, all right. So I left again. I don't know what the point of that was, other than to maybe flex some muscles, because he didn't get to throw me in jail when he wanted to, make him feel really good to just fuck around with his power. I don't know what it is, man. Doesn't sound like how a judge would speak. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. He didn't, although he did curse, though. He did curse. He's who the fuck told you that you could leave my courtroom? That is a fact. I'm paraphrasing slightly. He didn't curse as much as I'm saying, but he did actually say that. There are people that were there that can attest to this happening. But that's what happened. I mean, maybe it was a power trip. I don't know. Either way, the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is to make a point that it was not a secret. Obviously, the bail bondsman knew this lady was doing stuff like this to other people. She even did it to him. And remember, I said that one of the cops was in a relationship with her. That was word that was going around, right? So now, what happens from here? Well, she moves out of the apartment underneath my mom's and she goes to Waretown. A few months later, a 16-year-old girl and the cop that was supposedly in a relationship with this woman get into a fight. I guess cop tried to stop her. Argument got physical. Oh, let's see. I'm not hearing much respect for authority or the law here. Perhaps that's where the trouble started. For instance, you just admitted speeding 90 miles an hour. It's illegal, dangerous, and selfish. Well, first of all, I was not driving. I was in a car that was going 90. Maybe it wasn't 90, dude. Could have been a little bit less than that. I'm making the point that we raced back to the courthouse because otherwise I would have went to jail. And you want to talk about uh, lack of respect for authority or the law? I've only been arrested twice in my life. Now, obviously, I have had run-ins with cops. Part of the reason for that is the way that I speak, the way that I walk. As I stated earlier, I do walk with a limp and I can't change that. So I get stopped often being accused of being under the influence of shit. That is a problem. And it really gets on my nerves when a cop stops me and tells me he has to check to make sure that the pills I have match the ones that are in my bottle. And then he robs 2 pills from me. 2 to 4 pills from me. Where's the respect for me? Whatever the hell your name is, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. Where's the respect for me, bro? Huh? Serve and protect, right? Not steal and do whatever the hell I want with my badge and gun. What, are you supposed to be a cop? Are you a law-abiding citizen? Have you never done anything wrong in your life? You never been arrested? You never got a speeding ticket? You always wear a seatbelt? You do everything that you're supposed to do at all times? Where's this attitude coming from? Call him a douche works. No, seriously though. Not hearing much respect for authority or the law. Let me tell you something, dude. This is the kind of person that I am. You don't know me very well. The cop that stood up in court for me came to me after the fact and whispered to me in the court, listen, man, I just stuck my neck out for you. Don't make me fucking regret doing this. Okay, fine. Definitely won't. Definitely will not. The whole weed charge thing, that was a separate issue in another town. But whatever, that was for medical use. That was the whole reason why I was doing it to begin with. But the point is, this guy, this guy stuck his fucking neck out for me, and I appreciated that, right? A few months later, the guy gets killed in a car accident because there was an accident on the parkway. Guy that hit him, after the guy hit him, the cop's car flipped over and started to catch fire. Now, he was caught inside of the car, couldn't get out of the seatbelt, asking the guy to help him out, that he was going to go to court with him and try to get his sentence lowered down if he helps him. The guy was afraid to do it, didn't help him, cop dies. Okay? Now, this was on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving night, guy dies. When they held this service for him where cops from all over the fucking country came out and drove around with him, gave him the whole thing with the hearse and all that stuff. At the police station, they put out his car. They put his car out there, and they allowed people to leave flowers and things like that. I brought a candle over there and left it there because, that's just, I thought that would be a nice thing to do. That's not respectful. That's not a good thing to do because I have no respect for authority figures who abuse their power. I don't have any respect for that at all whatsoever. None. I'm not saying I'm perfect, bro. Nobody is perfect. Look, I've done my share of things, right or wrong. I can admit that I've made mistakes, though. When I do something wrong, there are consequences to my actions. When a cop does something wrong, they get transferred to another town. Or if they do get fired, they get a damn payout. Why is that okay? Where's the justice in that? Sounds like the other cop is a decent guy who tried his best with dealing with dirty cops and did try to help when he could. Well, see, that's the problem because I did have a conversation with him, the cop that passed away, and we talked about my dislike for cops because there are a lot of them who are dirty. And why is it that a cop like him, who is not dirty, why do you put up with things like that when what they do is they hurt your reputation as well. So now when somebody sees you because you're wearing that uniform, they automatically associate you as a bad person. The guy said, "Well, it's there's a blue line. We all take an oath when we swear in, and we're supposed to protect each other, right or wrong. Even if he is wrong, I have to have his back. That's just the way that it is, because I know that he would have my back. There are a lot of people in here that have went and had my back when I needed them to, whether it was in an arrest, whatever the case may be. So I have to have their back. That's the thin blue line that you hear a lot about. So guy says, look, man, that's just the way that it is. Sounds like you're prejudiced against the police. Bigotry is a dumb way to reason. I'm not prejudiced against the police. I was having a conversation with a cop about my dislike for cops that are crooked. I don't like that shit. And even the cop I was talking to was like, look, man, even when they're wrong, we have to back each other up. That's just the way it is. You know what's funny, dude? I met a cop from New York. I don't know if you know Brownsville, New York. If you've ever heard of that anywhere, but apparently it's a pretty rough fucking spot. It was outside of the movie theater when I was a kid. Hold on. It's the culture. A lot of them are friends, even if they know they are dirty. They don't want to see their friends get hurt. I have a lot of cop friends back in Texas, and sometimes they do get. Well, I'll continue reading that when you post the rest up there. But standing outside the movie theater, this is when I was younger, and I'm having a conversation with a cop from Brownsville, New York. Cop says, you know, I don't understand a lot of these cops in these smaller towns. They really make me laugh because they try to make a big thing out of nothing. They wouldn't be able to handle my day to day chasing down real criminals. That was from another cop's mouth. That's just what the dude said. So there is that within the conversation and ranks of police, there are police that look down on other police because maybe they come from a more dangerous area or they have to encounter more dangerous things on a day-to-day basis. I'm not I'm not racist or biased against cops. Where they get to the point where they have to cross that line. We had a good friend who was dirty, and he warned that he was being investigated by the FBI for what he was doing. He took the warning and probably ended up going to jail. Now, look, man, I mean, to a point, I get it. If you're a good cop and you do your job, you wake up, you go to your job, you do your job, you go home. You're not out robbing people. You're not out doing whatever it is. Maybe you stop a girl and you can you would have to have your head in the sand if you can't even acknowledge the fact that cops are in a position of power, dude. And there are bad people out there who abuse that power. That does not make me doesn't make me a bigot or racist against cops because I point out the fact that there are bad cops on every force in this country, just like there are good cops. That's just a fucking fact, bro. That's just a fact, dude. Nothing that you can do about it. They're not all gonna be good, and they're not all gonna be bad either. He ended up committing suicide rather than going to jail. It was sad because it was one of our friends that was a cop who found him very hard. Ryan killed himself on a lot of the cops who knew him and knew why he did what he did. Listen, unfortunately, I understand. I think I would much rather put a bullet in my own brain than go to prison. Just because that is a rough fucking place. It's a rough place, man. Jail, prison, all that shit sucks. Although I'm happy that I've gone through what I've gone through because I've gotten to see both sides. I've gotten to see both sides. I've seen what it was like to be locked away, even for short periods of time. Learn to appreciate being outside and then understanding that there are cops out there that will stand up for what is right. There was no reason for that guy to stand up in the courtroom for me. He could have let me fucking rot if he wanted to. But he didn't because he knew that things were not right, man. And he did the quote unquote right thing, right, from what he believed. To this day, I still appreciate that. Still, I have his mass card hanging up in my refrigerator right now. But I'm a bigot against police, right? And I can't recognize that there are good cops versus bad cops. I think the problem is more people like you. People like you who believe that there is no such thing as a bad cop. I'm black. I can't afford to think any cops are good people. My life is on the line. Well, see, that's something that I wanted to bring up, but because I'm not a black person or a black man, I'm a white man. I can't really speak to that, but I'm glad that you brought it up because I think that is an important subject to talk about. Now, where is this fucking warrior guy now? What do you have to say to that? And what nationality are you? Are you a white guy, black guy, whatever? He's a, my life is on the line and I work for them. Okay, so you're a cop yourself and you work with police too. I'm assuming. Oh no, I'm not a cop. Okay. Well, either way, walking around as a black person. Oh, maintenance for their facilities. Okay, I got you. I did that at one point in time too. I was cleaning out the state trooper building along with, Section 8 building, typhus and all that stuff. It's very intimidating, man. Now, being a black person, he was in the middle of a divorce. Girlfriend got pregnant. He didn't make enough money to support both the wife and kids, the girlfriend and a new kid. So he dealt drugs. Side, unfortunately for him, he stole from a drug bust, which is why the FBI started looking at him. For it was between rock and a hard place, and there was no good choice in his mind. Bigotry against blacks is bad logic, just like bigotry against police. Both are dumb ways to reason. Both are dumb to reason for the same reasons. Now, okay, wasn't going to use that you're a Canadian. Yeah, I was born black. No one was born a cop. That is true. Now, look, I think that there are good cops just like there are regular people and there are criminals. But there are cops that take unnecessary actions, man, and they abuse their power. Especially if you're black right now and you have to be on your guard, man. And it sucks that black people are the same as white people in the sense that they're fucking people. There is no reason on this fucking earth that a black person should have to worry about their life more than a white person should have to worry about their life. It's sad and it should not be a fucking reality. It shouldn't. Now, look, man, you can you can argue that it's bad logic, but if you're a Canadian guy, probably a white dude, have you even ever had a run in with the cops? Probably not. Maybe you have. Maybe your family is full of police officers. So maybe you have a built-in bias. Maybe you don't. But either way, you cannot just sit there and act like every single cop out on the force is a good person. That is insanity, bro. And you should go and get a damn CAT scan. I didn't say being black was like being a cop. Talking about prejudice. Yeah, but that's his point, though, is that when you become a cop, you make the choice to become a cop. When you're born, you don't have a choice of whether you're going to be black or not. And it fucking sucks that that even has to be a thing. You shouldn't have to want a fucking choice. You should be able to be a black person in America and just live life. Live life like any other fucking person lives their life. Why should they have to take extra precautions when they leave the fucking house because they're not white like me? It's fucking ridiculous, man. Shit needs to end. It needs to end today. But for you to act like cops don't ever do anything wrong, you that is a problem, dude. I'm not saying that they're all bad, bro. I don't understand what you don't get. You hear one bad thing about cops, and right away you want to jump down my throat and try to tell me I'm a bigot, dude. I'm the furthest thing from a fucking bigot there is. Gotta leave work. Listen in the car. All right, thanks. Cool, man. I appreciate it. I'm the furthest thing from a bigot there is. I have sat down and spoke with all different kinds of people. All different kinds of people, dude. From ex-Klan members to just regular black, white, Hispanic, Filipino, gay, straight, whatever. I I have interactions with all different kinds of people. I'm the furthest thing from racist there is towards anybody. Seen it from both sides. I've known dirty cops who do it because they see no other way, like Ryan did, and I've seen it from cops who wanted to power trip. Seen some good cops justify it because they knew what was going on behind the scenes, and some who took the blue line too seriously. I've also known good cops who will not allow that crap to go on without reporting it and they get shunned, which is another reason why some good cops won't report it. Well, I was going to bring that up because I heard a story a long time ago about how one cop tried to report shit that was not some off color shit, whether it was pertained to stops or whatever it was. I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up in a second. But other cops left dead rats in his fucking locker for trying to do the right thing. But that's okay though, right? Because as long as you wear a uniform, you can do nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And God forbid, and how fucking dare you? How dare you, a civilian, question a police officer? Who do you think you are? Who gave you the power to question a cop? You don't put your life on the line every single day. Who are you to open your mouth? Well, I mean, not for nothing, dude, but you have to look at cops the same way that you look at politicians. We're all not politicians and we're all not police officers. But if we see something that is not right, we need to open our mouth and say something about it. And again, that does not mean that every single one of them is bad. But I think if more good cops stood up and that quote unquote blue line didn't exist, it would make things a little bit better. Hold on a second. Hello? Hey. Okay. Alright, give me a few minutes. Alright. Alright. I mean, it's crazy, dude. It really is. The blue line shit has to go. And you can make an argument that it's the same way the other way around also. If a person, let me ask you a question, sir. If you were driving down the road and you saw a guy that was pulled over, and in the time that it took you to pass by, let's say you're at a red light, and you see some guy get pulled over, he gets pulled out of the car, and for whatever reason, right or wrong, cop starts whooping his ass. Are you gonna say something? Or you're just gonna keep driving by because you don't want a problem? Would you open your mouth and do the right thing, or are you just not gonna say something because you don't want issues with the cops? Because I think the other issue is that people are afraid to talk about this shit, man. They're scared to talk about it because they don't want issues with police at all. Who's going to check them then? Why is it that why is it that there's no body that oversees what a cop does and does not do? If a company can't look over itself, there's no reason why cops should be able to do the same thing, especially because it's more serious for a cop to do it. I mean, come on, man. Like, look at you want to financial talk. This is just in New Jersey. More than 42.7 million rather of taxpayer money government officials have spent to hush hundreds of allegations of police abuse That's enough to fund education of 2,800 New Jersey school children this year. That was last year. What do you think about that? Hush money. Quiet, quiet. Please don't do nothing wrong. Take this dough and shut the fuck up. Take this money and shut the fuck up. Oh, you got your ass kicked by the cops? Take a few dollars. Oh, you were falsely accused and arrested? Take a few dollars. But shh, don't say anything. Here's this NDA you gotta sign real quick. Because we don't want this to ever make the news. We don't want nobody in town knowing about this. When you get arrested, nobody wants to know nothing. Oh, he's in the jail? Fuck him. Let him stay in there and rot. Let him stay and rot because he's a no good criminal. Fuck him and his family. Let them all cry tears. Nobody gives a shit. Maybe you shouldn't have broke the law in the first place, right? Supposed to be a system in place. When it's used, you get shunned and harassed if you were a cop, and you get bounced around because they see you as a troublemaker. Very rarely do they actually fix things. Yeah, no, and they won't. And they won't. You know why? Because then the money train probably stops. If you're a cop, you can deal all day, every day. I mean, sure, you might get caught by the FBI, but who the fuck is gonna stop a cop from dealing whatever? I mean, come on, dude. And to go back to the jail thing real quick. Once you're in jail, nobody cares about you no more. We don't care about how you got there. We don't care if you're innocent or guilty. The point is, there was a judgment. Bam. That's it. It's a wrap for you. You go to jail. We don't care if the cop beat your ass and didn't read you your Miranda rights. We don't care about none of that. We don't care about any of that stuff. Bigot against cops, please, man. More like there are cops that are around here that are bigoted against me because of the way that I speak and the clothes that I wear and whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's okay though, right? They can hate. They can hate all they want. How many cops got to shoot black people in the street? And again, it's not all of them. But why is it okay for a cop to shoot any person in the back and not go to court and go to jail for it? Why? Why is that all right? Bigoted against cops if you say something, though. You're an asshole if you try to open your mouth. How dare you? How dare you try to bring some justice to the justice system? Who you think you are? Spit on you. You piece of shit. How dare you? It kills me. It kills me. And it cracks me up that people like you still exist, bro. People like you. How? How does it happen? Do you live in the suburbs where everything is real nice and quiet and the cops pass by and they wave when they see you and everything is all good? It's bigotry that I think is bad, not cops. Blacks are angry people screaming on YouTube. You want to come in here and make a point, dude? Instead of saying the same thing over and over again? Angry people screaming on YouTube. You know what the best part is? I'm not even angry, dude. I'm not even angry at all. I'm not mad. I'm making a point. I'm screaming like people would scream. That's what's happening. You don't think people say that? I mean, because I'm white, I get to be privy to all types of conversations that people would not have if there was a black person around. It's insane, dude. My cousin works in a school in Newark trying to help kids that come from, financially hardship backgrounds. Sits in the comment section and craps on everybody. Well, I mean, he's more than welcome. He's more than welcome to voice his opinion. If you're gonna say something like, okay, it's not bigotry that I think is bad. Bigotry is bad against black people, against cops, against every race and nationality. That's bad. That is bad. But also, so is completely dismissing the fact that cops can do anything wrong. And if it takes me to sit on YouTube and yell a little bit to get to shake you up a little, to make you think a little bit outside of the box, then so be it. Anyway, my cousin works in a school trying to help underprivileged children get an education in places where, they don't have both family members, or it's a struggle for them to get into a really good school. So she tries to help them. And I hear the conversations from certain parts of my family. But, why do you help them? They don't want to help themselves. You see the way that they treat their neighborhoods, how they're all run down. You see what happens. All they want to do is sell drugs. They don't want to elevate themselves. Come on, dude, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You have no idea what it's like at all to live in that area, number one. You have no idea. These people don't come from broken homes. They've had money their whole lives in one way or another. One of my aunts is actually a dispatcher for a police department around here. That lady can't stand me. I wonder why. But I couldn't sit down and have a conversation with her about police because she thinks the same way that you do. Cops don't do anything wrong ever. And why you gonna shit on this girl when all she's trying to do is help? You guys want to be racist. And I feel bad for racist people because they miss out. They miss out on a lot of things. There could be an awesome person that could wind up becoming your best friend in life, but because you don't like what color they are, you refuse to speak to them. And these are the same people that if a black dude came walking into the room, they would pretend that, oh, hey, how are you? It's so nice to see you, and kissing ass. But the second they walk away, is talking shit behind their back. Come on, dude, that ain't right. Ain't right at all. I'm ashamed that I'm related to these people. Just because those types of people shouldn't exist. We're in the 2000s. I can pick up my cell phone and call somebody in fucking Tokyo. And yet, for some reason, there are still people that hate other people because of the color of their fucking skin. What? There's still people that don't believe the cops are crooked in 2018. In a social media age where you can see shootings and beatdowns happening regularly. Still, it doesn't mean they've done anything wrong. In scores of lawsuits, the pattern is the same. Towns routinely take the path of least resistance at the taxpayer's expense to minimize their liability when they face a claim one of their cops violated, hurt, or killed somebody. Millions of taxpayer dollars are spent, nobody admits wrongdoing, and the accused of misconduct often remain in place. Of the 531 officers named in suits allegedly abuses, at least 231 of them remain on the job and employed, settled out with their accusers. Press review of employment records found that many others normally retire years after an allegation. Whoever said there were no bad police, you did. You did. You didn't say that exactly. You made the argument by saying that I was a bigot against cops. You made that argument, not me. You did that. You didn't say it directly. You didn't say it directly. By you saying, I say, hey man, you know what? There are some cops out there that are bad people. And you say, oh, I clearly see that you have no respect for the law or authority. You're a bigot. You're a racist against police. Not me, though. Upstanding citizen. Every cop in my town likes me. No such thing as a bad cop. That's what that sounds like when you make that argument, dude. Be completely honest with you, getting all mad at me, saying that you don't like bigotry or people that yell on YouTube. But you're still here, sweet thing, when you like the sound of my voice? Oh, man. I'm just busting your chops a little bit, dude. My aunts are like that too. My little brother has now been shunned for getting engaged to a Hispanic woman. Not the only one, though. Cousins who marry outside of their race. Even my Uncle Bobby for marrying a Vietnamese woman. Honestly, being shunned in our family is a good thing. It means you aren't a complete monster. Dude, you know what? On that fact, my grandmother, how can I put this? My grandmother's father came off the boat from Sicily, Italy, came over to America, fought in the Second World War to become a citizen. My grandmother grows up. She falls in love with this Irish guy. Automatically, family goes, nope, not happening. You go with him, we wash our hands of you. You do not you do not go outside of your race, whatever it is, you don't do it. You go with him, we're washing our hands of you completely. All that guy is going to do is cheat on you, leave you stranded with a couple of kids, and that's that. Now, unfortunately, they were right about one thing. He did wind up doing that. But still, shunning her for getting with somebody that is not of the same exact everything as you is insanity, man. And you know what? Even though he did all that, she died with her wedding ring on her finger. She never dated anybody else ever in her entire life because she really loved that dude. So if you care about somebody, you should be able to date whoever you want, no matter what color they are, as long as you have an interest in them. Did you miss the bit about him talking about how a cop stood up for him? Clearly, he must have missed it. Just to reiterate, in case you did miss it, when I was in court, cop actually stood up for me and said, "Listen, man, I handed the lady the paperwork to be here myself. She's not here. We should really drop this case." Fought for me. Didn't have to do that, but he did it. Same guy acknowledges that there were crooked cops on the force. But because they have to have each other's backs, there's really nothing that he can do about that. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate that cops know that dirty shit does happen and yet they don't do anything about it because they don't want to get turned on. What does that say about an organization when one of your own tries to point out? Let me tell you something, dude. If I had a friend, if I had a friend that was going to do something stupid, like I don't know, rob a convenience store for no reason. He's got food in his house, he's got money in his pocket, but he wants to go rob something just for the sake of robbing it. And like, dude, don't be an asshole, man. You got money, you don't need to do that. We're gonna try to set this dude straight so he doesn't do that, right? Because that's what friends and partners are supposed to do for each other. However, in this organization, when you're a police officer and you see a fellow officer, possibly your partner, is beating somebody up, maybe he's abusing his his rights on a routine traffic stop, maybe he's planting drugs on somebody, maybe he's telling some girl threatening he's going to rape her. I mean, there's plenty of stories about that, but you know, so I'm your partner and I'm not allowed to correct your behavior because you're a cop because of the blue line. Blue lives matter, black lives matter, white lives matter. We all matter, dude. Why is it that you know it's always a one up? It's always a one up. Why is that? There's no need for it. We all can coexist, man. I really do. I hope that there is a day where I don't have to address this ever. And we can look back and we can say, it was really messed up that there was a time when police would treat people this way. But I'm glad that we don't live in that time anymore. Those people look like savages to us now. The same way in 2018, we can acknowledge that there's still problems. There's still racism against black people and other people of color. But, at least now they have the ability to do certain things. However, that's not, we need to make it so that everybody is comfortable. In other words, I want to see a day where a can cop can stop in the middle of the road and have a conversation with anybody and everybody that lives in that neighborhood. And there's no stigma behind it. Other than if you're doing something wrong, know that, well, eventually I will get you. You might get away with it today, maybe tomorrow. Eventually, you will slip up and I will get you. Other than that, if you're not breaking the law, I don't I don't see a reason why I need to bust your balls. You know what would be awesome? Even though I know this can't happen because if you're a cop, can't fail a drug test. But you know what would be really cool? If they legalized weed in New Jersey, and then somebody with a drug charge, past drug charge from a little bit of weed, that I would be able to, you know, have a smoke with a cop. That would be cool. If we could, as a collective people, sit back and laugh about the fact that, people used to get arrested for doing this shit and how fucked up it all really was. I mean, what is it going to take? What is it going to take to recognize that things need to be fixed? What the hell is it going to take? I mean, come on, dude. 231 out of 531 people still on the job after lawsuits are filed? $1 million court settlement against a small town. I mean, it goes. This thing goes on and on, dude. And I'm not even anywhere close to. I'm not even halfway through this thing. It's insanity. I mean, look at this. August 29, 2010. Jason Rios called 911, reported his car was on fire by the end of the night. He was pepper sprayed, handcuffed, beaten by 3 police officers following the exchange of words when Rio's car was on fire. According to court record, Rio's lawsuit, the following events happened. Claimed in his suit, Sergeant Franco Amato watched as police officers. Oh man, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce their names. The link is in the comments and the description. Okay, so they savagely assaulted him, took him to the ground, assaulted him. City settled with Rios for $280,000. No admission of wrongdoing. 3 officers still work in the department. One of them retired in 2013. That's normal though, right? Beat up whoever you want. I would love to get I would love to get a cop on here. Have him hide the identity, or even a woman cop. Have her come up on here, him or her, whoever. Have them hide their identity and their voice. Maybe we go back and forth through email or whatever. And we can talk about things like what really happens. How do you attempt to address these issues without rocking the boat? Is there anything you can do? Is there anything that can stop this from happening? Like at what point does it become too much for you? Is it a rape, shooting, planting of drugs? What is it? When does it become too much? Do you have to join in? Any of you guys seen Tales from the Hood? If you've never seen that movie, there's a part in there where a couple of cops, shoot a dude up with heroin, drive him off the side of the bridge, I think, if I remember correctly. Basically, he comes back from the dead and kills all of them for being crooked. But nobody jumped in and tried to stop it until after it was already too late. So where does the line get drawn? Where does the thin blue line stop and justice begins? Because you could be a good cop, but what difference is it going to make if you're not going to stop bad shit from happening? Does that still make you a good cop? When are you considered a bad cop? Because look at this. Typically, it's only too much if a dirty cop does something to them or their family personally. I would imagine so. But why is it that if somebody lives in my house and they're selling drugs outside of my house, I'm not selling it with them. I'm just renting them a room, right? And somebody's selling drugs inside of my house. If I don't call the cops and report it, then I'm guilty by association. Why is that? Why is it that I would be guilty by association when a cop can, and I'm again, disclaimer, not all of them do it, but they can beat people up, rape people, steal money. They can do all these things. And how come the cop that's standing with them is not also held reliable for stopping them? Because there's a thin blue line. Where's the line? Where's the line for a regular person, a day to day guy? Maybe there's guys that are afraid of the drug dealers, so they don't report them. But that doesn't matter, right? Because fuck those guys. They knew it was happening and they didn't report it. I mean, it's cool if we do it, but you can't do it. You can't do it. And what is it really? It's really about the money too. I think that's another thing. As far as all that is concerned, it's really all about the money, man. How many cop movies are there with dirty police? I'm sure the numbers are outrageous. Even a good cop show, even a good cop show sometimes still has crooked shit happening. Seen one actually a cop went after 14-year-old niece of his boss, and that was the line. Even then, all he did was transfer the guy and tell him that if he ever saw him again, he'd kill him. Yeah, but you can get away with that. That transfer shit bothers me, bro. If I break the law, I get transferred to jail or prison. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll get probation and I pay a fine. You get off free? And then you wonder where hate comes from, dude. You wonder where it comes from. That's where it comes from. Unfortunately, it's sad. It's sad that hate is even brought that way, bro. But come on, dude. If I'm a person, I'm getting arrested, and I hear things, I see things, nobody does nothing. Why would I respect that? Why would I respect that? Doesn't make any sense at all. It's fucked up. People need to be held accountable, man. For their wrongdoing, they need to be held accountable. Dude had a history of going after teenage girls, and it was only a problem when it was his niece. Very messed up. That's fucking disgusting, man. It's disgusting, dude. I mean, people are gross in general, guys that go after younger girls like that. Like, if you're 40 and you go after a 30-year-old, I personally, I don't get it. But they're of age and, they've been around for a while. You're of age, you've been around for a while. I understand that. But if you're, I had a sister. I have a sister. Not had. She didn't go anywhere. She's still around. My sister was like, oh, I want you to meet this guy that I'm dating. All right, cool. I'll meet him. Hopefully he's a nice guy. She was all of 16 at the time. She introduces me to some guy who's 26. I'm like, not for nothing, dude. What the fuck are you doing, man? Go find somebody your own fucking age. You disgusting freak. It's nasty. But, let's see what some of the higher six-figure settlements include: homicide, beating claims, teens left in a freezing van, homicide, family called for medical help after he fell in 2010. After refusing medical attention, he became combative and the police handcuffed, shackled him to a stretcher, eventually suffocated. Death was ruled a homicide. No criminal charges were filed. Family was paid $875,000 in a settlement. City denied wrongdoing. Beating claim: Philip Dubois settled for $500,000 after he claimed being punched, kicked, pepper sprayed by a Bridgetown officer in 2013. He cannot talk about the case today. We signed a confidential agreement with the police department, said his lawyer. We are not at liberty to discuss anything else on that. City denied wrongdoing. Teens left in a freezing van. 2011, 5 teenagers were locked in a Fort Lee police van for 15 hours in below freezing temperatures with no food, water, bathroom, warm clothing. According to the two lawsuits filed by the parents of two of the teens, two separate settlements. Each teen received $120,000 from the borough. At least 11 officers named in the lawsuit were still employed by Fort Lee. Their salaries range from $129,800 to $188,976. No admission of wrongdoing was made by Fort Lee. So, dude, you can't even you can't leave a dog out on a leash. You can't even leave a dog out on a leash. Thank you to Grand Ultimate Atheist Villain for subscribing. Appreciate that, dude. And thank you for adding on to the conversation, giving us a different perspective. Obviously, I'm not a black dude, so I appreciate you being able to throw that in there. Hopefully, in the future, maybe we can get into a little bit more of your perspective and what it's like walking around to be you. But anyway, you can't leave a fucking dog outside with no shelter and no water. You'll go to jail for that, but it's perfectly okay to leave a couple of teenagers in the back of the van. Fuck them. They don't matter. We'll teach them a lesson. Maybe we scare them a little bit. They'll know better next time. Now they don't have a next time. And all you guys are still getting paid? Come on, dude. Fair is fair, bro. Fair is fair. They should be in jail. At the least, they shouldn't have jobs. But because they're cops, they're allowed to get away with it. I mean, the stories just go on and on. Call to end secrecy. Efforts for reform are being made. All police involved with deaths should be investigated by the state attorney general's office, not a local prosecutor's office. Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver from Essex County, former Speaker Assembly, wrote this in a bill. I think that the public is deserving of transparency, she told the press. Families of victims must be assured that there isn't a cover up the circumstances of death. Oliver said, I think there is great interest in doing social justice reform, criminal justice reform in the state. So, I agree with that. New elected Mayor Tinton Falls rode the taxpayer outrage into office November 7th after the press exposed that 1.1 million was paid to settle two police officer whistleblower lawsuits. So they're even involved in that. Look, I mean, I could go, I could literally, I can go on and on. I really could. I can go on and on for days. However, I'm not going to. Just because I have to go run somewhere real quick, I'll end this for now. Again, link is in the description, dude. You can read all this stuff for yourself. I encourage you, not only should you read it, look for facts against it. Look for something to combat these claims. Bring it up. Drop it in the comments. You want to challenge any of these things, feel free to do so. But reality is reality, dude. These things are happening. And they shouldn't be happening. It's not right. It isn't right at all. It's not. I believe there are good cops out there. There are a lot of bad cops too. And the good ones need to do something about the bad ones. Otherwise, aren't they just as bad? I'm not an angel, never claimed to be an angel, have done some wrong things in my life. I think everybody has. I paid my debts to society just like everyone else. But apparently, if you're a cop, you don't have to do those things. You can just get transferred or you can get a payout. Apparently that's how it works from the stories that we've read. Again, I don't think every one of them is a bad person. But at what point, what makes you bad? If I can go to jail for not reporting somebody, how come it's alright for you not to report somebody because it goes against the blue line? It's the question that I have. I don't know why it's okay for some people and not for others. The double standards gotta go. But anyway, for now, I'll end this. If you guys have any comments, suggestions for topics, whatever it might be, you can leave it in the comments section. You know where to find me. Otherwise, on Twitter, whatever, we can have a discussion about these things. Like if you want to like, dislike, please. I saw I have a dislike on this video. Thank you to that person who disliked the video also. I appreciate that. I really do. At least you're honest. At least you're honest. Not like I can say for a lot of the proceedings that happen with some of these police officers, not very honest. I know this is a heated subject. There may be a part two. If some of you guys want to jump in on that conversation, definitely we'll give it a shot. Let me know. For now, I'll be back in a little while. Gotta go do some stuff. Thank you to everybody that got involved in the comment section. Sabella, as always. Adina, if he's out there watching. Grand Ultimate Atheist Villain. Thank you for subscribing, getting into the conversation. Where's my guy at? I don't know how to say your name. Whatever warrior. Thanks for throwing into your opinion into all of this. Definitely, I will try. Maybe I'll do another one of these later. We can continue the conversation. Let me know. I'm going to stop rambling. Catch you guys around in a little bit.